I woke up that morning feeling like any other normal day. Sunlight was streaming through the blinds, birds were chirping outside, and I honestly thought, hey, today is just going to be a regular day. Little did I know that I was walking into one of the most awkward, cringeworthy, and somehow hilariously unforgettable experiences of my life. You see, birthdays are funny that way. Sometimes you're excited, sometimes you forget them, and sometimes the universe decides to humiliate you in front of everyone you know. And yes, this was one of those times. It all started innocently. I rolled out of bed, grabbed my phone, and started scrolling through messages, notifications, memes, the usual morning ritual. I noticed something odd. No happy birthday texts. Weird, I thought. I double-checked the date. Yep, it was my birthday. And still, nothing. Not a single text from friends, family, or even that annoying coworker who always tags you in Facebook memes. I shrugged it off. Maybe people were busy. Maybe they'd surprise me later. Breakfast was uneventful, which in hindsight should have been my first clue that something was off. My roommate, who usually bombards me with cheerful greetings, didn't say a word about my birthday. Not a, hey, happy birthday. Not even a, don't forget your cake. Nada. Just the usual morning coffees in the kitchen. I stared at him suspiciously. Was he playing some sort of trick? No, he looked genuinely oblivious. I shook it off again. Maybe the world was conspiring to make this a surprise day. I went about my morning, trying to stay normal, but the sense of being forgotten kept creeping up. My phone stayed silent. Work emails were normal. Social media was full of everyone else's birthdays, vacations, and weekend plans, but not mine. It's funny how being forgotten can feel so loud. Every notification that wasn't for me felt like a personal reminder that today was going unnoticed. I tried to ignore it. I really did. By mid-morning, I had accepted my fate. Maybe I wasn't that important. Maybe birthdays are overrated. I poured myself another cup of coffee, hoping caffeine would dull the sting. That's when the first hint of chaos appeared. My neighbor, someone I barely know, popped into my apartment. "Hey, happy unbirthday," she said, waving a coffee cup at me. I froze. Did she just not know it was my birthday? Or was this some weird sarcasm? I stared. She laughed awkwardly and left. My day was officially off to a weird start. The real disaster began around lunch. I had a few friends who I thought would remember. I sent out a casual "hey, lunch later" message, thinking maybe it wasn't too late for a celebration. Their replies were all normal, no mention of my birthday. I laughed nervously. Clearly, everyone had forgotten. I decided to embrace it and just go grab lunch by myself. Maybe treat myself. After all, self-love is important, right? I walked into the cafe, ordered my usual sandwich, and sat down. That's when it happened, the tipping point. The barista, a young guy who always remembered my favorite order, looked up with a big smile. "Happy birthday," he said cheerfully, handing me my sandwich with a little flag sticking out that said, "Birthday boy." I froze. Relief? Embarrassment? A shock? I wasn't sure. Half the cafe turned to look at me, curious why someone was being celebrated in what was otherwise a normal Tuesday afternoon. I smiled awkwardly, muttered a thank you, and tried to act casual, but I could feel everyone staring. Then came the text from my mom. "Happy birthday, honey. Sorry I forgot to call earlier." I blinked. Earlier? What time did she think it was? My mind started spinning. How could she forget my birthday? I laughed, partly out of disbelief and partly out of embarrassment. Then my phone buzzed again. My sibling. "Happy birthday. Sorry I was busy. Don't hate me. Don't hate them." Couldn't hate them. I was already too deep in awkwardness to add family guilt on top. Back at work, things escalated. I walked into the office, expecting maybe a quiet nod from coworkers. Instead, my desk was decorated with balloons, a small banner, and an empty cupcake wrapper. The cake had mysteriously disappeared. One of my coworkers, who I thought had forgotten as well, whispered, "We had to eat it before you got here." Delicious. Delicious. Gone. My birthday cake devoured in my absence. I laughed, partly at the absurdity, partly at the fact that my life had officially turned into a sitcom episode. Meetings were a mix of awkward silence and forced happy birthday comments from colleagues who clearly hadn't prepared anything. Handed me a mug with my name spelled wrong. Another coworker sang happy birthday off-key, muttering something about being sick of birthdays in general. I sat there, half laughing, half mortified. Somewhere in between, I realized this wasn't just a forgotten birthday, was an epic comedy of errors. After work, I decided to go home, hoping for a calm evening. Maybe I could just relax, watch a show, and forget the day altogether. But the universe wasn't done with me yet. My best friend texted, "Surprise! Be ready outside your door." Confused but intrigued, I went to the door. There was no one. I waited. And then my cat jumped into my lap with a small package tied to its collar. Yes, my cat. With a gift. I laughed so hard tears came to my eyes. Who even comes up with this? Who prepares a birthday for a person and then has their cat deliver it? Apparently, my best friend. Inside the package was a tiny card that said, "Better late than never." Along with it, a ridiculous assortment of little trinkets, snacks, and a handwritten note explaining that the real celebration was happening tomorrow. My relief was immediate, followed by amusement. I couldn't believe how absurd the day had become. How it spiraled from forgotten birthday to full-blown sitcom episode starring me, my coworkers, my family, and my cat. By the end of the day, I sat on the couch, reflecting on the chaos. The forgotten birthday had turned into a roller coaster of embarrassment, laughter, awkwardness, and unexpected joy. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't quiet, and it definitely wasn't what I had expected, but it was memorable. Every awkward glance, every late text, every cupcake-less cake had somehow made the day feel alive. I laughed at the absurdity, realizing that sometimes life's little disasters are actually what make it worth celebrating. So here's a question for you. Have you ever had a birthday that went completely off the rails? Something where everyone forgot or something completely unexpected happened? Share it in the comments. Want to hear your stories? your laughs, your awkward moments. And if you've ever survived a birthday disaster that turned into a story you'll tell forever, hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that turn everyday life into epic adventures. And share this with a friend who needs a reminder that sometimes being forgotten soon so bad it just makes the story better. 'Cause at the end of the day, whether your birthday is perfectly planned, completely forgotten, or hilariously chaotic, it's yours. And sometimes the best memories come from the moments you least expect, the moments that make you laugh, the moments that you think are disasters until you realize they were the best birthday yet. And that, my friends, is the magic of a forgotten birthday.